Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a review on the brand new Makeup by Mario foundation. I am also comparing it to the old foundation that he has as well, which is one of my top 10 foundations. So I was very excited to see he came out with a new foundation with a natural finish. The other one was Luminous, which personally worked so well for my skin. So if you're curious about a comparison, I will do a side-by-side wear test and application for you in this video. Also, I will show you how the new foundation just wears on its own, because I do have a video review on the old foundation, so you can go check that out if you're curious about the Luminous foundation and more on that. Those who like Luminous, I will compare it to the natural finish, just because that was something I was curious about, so I know probably some other people want to see a side-by-side. So let's begin with the new foundation. We have a nice frosted packaging on this one. It has a more matte look to it, and this is called the SurrealSkin Natural Finish Foundation. It retails for $70 Canadian. I did get my same shade in the natural finish to compare to the Luminous, so I use shade 12O, which is a medium with warm olive undertone. So this has a natural finish. It's supposed to be weightless, medium coverage, smooths and blurs, all-day shine control, and 16-hour hydration. There's a couple highlighted ingredients in this, including glycerin and raspberry extract, as well as vitamin E. And let's get to applying this on the skin. So I do have the foundation brush to use for this video. It's one of my favorites. I'm gonna zoom you guys in. I film in natural light. As you can tell, you can see absolutely everything. My pores, my skin texture, it's all here, so we can see how it lays on my skin. Also, I do have my skin prep on, which is just moisturizer and a sunscreen. I don't have any prolonging product on my skin, just so that I can show you the true wear test. And I also won't be using a setting spray that prolongs as well, just so you can actually see how this wears on its own. Though those are often steps I do take to have my skin just look a little bit better at the end of the day, and also for my pores, but it defeats the purpose of trying the product. So I want you to see how it smooths on my pores as well. So I'm just going to take one pump of the foundation. I'm surprised this is a little bit more liquidy than the Luminous. You have to shake both of these foundations. Just know that going in. I'm gonna use my F4 brush, start applying this to the skin, using one pump and one light layer, just to show you how it looks like for coverage on one half of my face before we build up. This personally is a foundation like the other one that I like built up to a second layer, but you can get a really nice natural looking coverage with this with just the one light layer. That is one light layer of the foundation on both sides of my skin. I do find this shade to be slightly warmer than the 12O in the Luminous, which that one matches my skin perfectly. I don't really have an ounce of warmth to my skin. So I think with this foundation, I would actually go for neutral or cool in it, just because it does pull slightly warmer. And though it says it's a natural finish, and it is more natural than the Luminous, there is still quite a bit of glow to it, which my natural skin does not have, because I'm normal leaning dry. But you can see with that spot on my face how it covered that. So it's a nice medium coverage, I would say, once you build it up, but you can definitely have it a more light coverage if that's what you like. I love a buildable foundation like this though. It's my favorite. A medium buildable just works for my skin, something about it. I still like a little bit of my skin peeking through, so it makes it look natural. As you give this time to dry down as well, it becomes less luminous and gives you more of that natural finish feel. This is a little bit thinner of a formula, not that the old one was thicker, but I'm going to show you kind of a comparison between the Luminous now, just so you can see side by side of that, so you can see what I mean about the finish, and you can kind of decide whether this newer finish is something that you want to check out. So the old one does have a more gel-like feel to it. You can see in the side by side, not only the undertone is slightly different in these two shades, but also that it has a different sort of consistency to it, a tad thicker. It goes on almost creamier and gel-like. As I said, you can tonally see that actually the Luminous looks slightly lighter, but when I show you the wear test, I found that one oxidized slightly. The new version doesn't oxidize at all, in my opinion. I found at the end of the day that they kind of switched in terms of which one was darker on my skin, which was really strange because I thought the natural finish was going to remain a tad bit darker on my skin throughout the day. Both went on really nicely. They both feel weightless on my skin. And interesting enough, the new natural finish claims to have a 16-hour hydration, whereas the Luminous has a 12-hour, which seemed counterintuitive to me just because I would think the Luminous would have a little bit more hydrating ingredients and actually have more claims to be long wear hydration than the natural finish. But it's nice that the formula is updated to be a little bit more hydrating on the skin and long wearing so that when you wear it throughout the day, it shouldn't dehydrate your skin. I have to say I like the natural finish on camera better, but in person I do still lean more towards the Luminous, at least on my skin. I find on camera it looks more smooth for the natural, however in person I just really lean towards the Luminous, at least initially on my skin. We're back to the full face of the natural finish now. As you can see, all my products that I love still go on my complexion really nicely, just like how I'd expect, so nothing played weird with the foundation, which is good to know, but I'm going to come back with my full face done. We'll talk a little bit more about the foundation and I will show you the wear tests of both the foundations. I'm back. Here is the foundation on my skin with all the rest of my makeup done. As you can see, it's a little warm for me, so I would personally pick a different shade just to match me a little bit better. I will still purchase 12.0 in the Luminous though. So let's get to how this wears on the skin. I feel like both initially wear very similarly, but where you see the true difference is after a few hours with these particular formulas, because that's when the Luminous really shines, both literally and figuratively. It is more luminous throughout the day, especially at the end of the day. You could see reflection in my forehead, I felt, and you can definitely see the difference in the side by side in terms of how both of these foundations wear. Even though the natural finish says it's more hydrating, I still feel like the Luminous feels more hydrating on my skin, at least. That will come down to formula over time, I guess, if it's going to be hydrating my skin for longer. But the natural finish, at least on my skin, looks slightly dry at the end of the day. And it did control shine. I actually wore it to the spa and I was in steam rooms and hot tubs, and it wore throughout the entire time I was there. It doesn't claim to be waterproof, but it did not budge. And it still looked on the drier side on my skin at the end of the day. That's without priming product or setting spray though. For me, it did 100% control shine. I feel like if you prefer a more matte look, you're gonna like the natural finish, or if you're oily, I do feel like you're gonna really resonate with the new foundation. If you are more normal leaning dry and like a luminous finish like me, I think you're still going to prefer the Luminous. At least that's my preference at the end of the day when I did wear these side by side. I still really love the natural finish though on my skin. I felt it blurred my skin just like the Luminous foundation. It was lightweight, wore really nicely on the skin, so it checked all my boxes personally for a foundation I would repurchase. This is my third time purchasing the Luminous, so we will see if I end up repurchasing the natural finish, but they're definitely two different foundations. I feel like both these foundations have a place in Makeup by Mario's lineup, only because they truly have different aspects for different skin types or a different finish in terms of what you want. All the claims on this new foundation, I feel like check. If you like that more natural finish, which I think is beautiful, and you are more oily, I feel like you're really going to enjoy those shine control properties in it. The Luminous, at least for me, looks a little bit better on my skin at the end of the day. I do feel like though, as I said, for film, just because when things are highlighted, you can see more texture, that it looks not as good on camera, and the natural finish will always win just because it is not enhancing anything in terms of shine. But for me in person, at the end of the day, I do like that more luminous finish. I don't feel like it ages my skin. For the shine control, it can look a little dry and age me slightly, I feel, just because I'm not oily in the slightest. for my skin type. I am normal leaning dry. I hope this helps you out though, decide whether you want to pick up the new Makeup by Mario foundation and my experience with it. As I said, Luminous is in my top 10 foundations, so we will see if this new one makes it into that for me. They're both very similar to me going on my skin. It's just the wear for me. What are you looking for? Do you like that reflect in the Luminous? Do you really want to glow like this one offers? Or do you want to be more natural leaning matte? Depending on your skin type, I feel like this is going to lean more matte, even though it's a natural finish. Because there is shine control in it, you could go more matte than natural. It just depends on your skin though. So let me know, which one did you prefer in this video? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions, and if you're going to be picking up the new Natural Finish Foundation from Makeup by Mario. As I said, I'm probably going to be going back for a different shade. That's the only thing that was slightly disappointing for me, was that the shades didn't match up with the old formula. That is something that I'm just going to have to play with and figure out my shade. As I said, probably going to go more neutral to cool in the new shade that I grabbed. Overall, if you're looking for shine control, I think this is definitely a foundation worth picking up, or at the very least getting a sample, seeing if your skin likes it. And if you thought the Luminous was too luminous for you, I definitely think you'll prefer the Natural Finish Foundation. So thank you so much for clicking on this video, for spending some time with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and review, and I will see you guys in my next video.